love it with some passion. Rubber band and the money that keeps stacking. Got a honey who come with elite fashion. She too fine, I tell her that thing magic. You ain't a hustle, you broke, well that seems tragic. Got her catching the field like deep passes. I tell her plug if it's sticky, then please bag it. I need the best cause I grew up.
What is going on, football fans? It is week 9, NFL week 9, and it is about to go down. Y'all know what that means when I say it's week 9. It's the week that I've been waiting for to get at my dog Twan, and we are back. It's the chop up. Listen, my man Sterls for the girls can't be with us this time, but me and Twan is in the building, and we're going to get it going because y'all already know what game is happening this weekend. It's the Buffalo Bills. We are heading into town. We are going to East Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm not going to say the city that they want me to claim. We are going into New Jersey, and the Buffalo Bills, the only team in New York State, is about to show. He already shaking his head because we about to show who runs New York. What's going on, big dog?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm tired, but we here. So,
yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm just always busy, but maintaining.
Yeah, well, busy is good for you, man. That's that's the life of a beat reporter and all that other stuff.
Not next week, though. Not next week. I got a bye week, so I'm looking forward to that.
You sound like one of the players. Like, man, I can't wait for this bye week, man.
Yeah, I'm ready. It's like it's perfect too. It's like halfway through the season too. Like this will be the ninth game coming up. So you'll have 8 after this. So that's exactly when you want the bye week.
See, I can't hold you. The Bills always. It seems like at least in recent years, I think we had one that was a little bit later, like week 11 or week 10. But for the most part, I feel like the Bills always get a bye week, like week 6, week 5. Like we're always one of the first bye weeks, and I can't stand it, man. Like I wish we can get one in the middle of the season. Like give me like that week 10, week 11.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it is next week, week 10. Yeah. So it's like perfect. Like that's like that's the cutoff. Like that's the first half going into the second half of the season. So that's what you want.
Yeah, I need that. But I mean, we already got our bye weekend, so I'm not saying it for the sake of the team. I'm saying it for the sake of like coverage and like all
that's
traveling.
What I mean.
And yeah, no, I know. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying it for people that's listening or watching. It's like, yeah, no, we're not just saying it for that. Like we need a break sometimes too. And I can only imagine how the players feel. Like all the travel and all of the bodies could probably use that extra week off. So, but let's get into it, man. It's I think this week is more exciting games than it has been in the last few weeks. Like, some of the matchups, even because, well, let's put it like this. Like, I feel like this year is top heavy in the sense of like, there's like 3 or 4 teams at the top that you're like, okay, these dudes are contenders. And then it's just like the middle pack is heavy. Like it's a big middle pack. And then you got the teams that we know, like they're not good. And what happens is like Thursday night football hasn't been good. Like even this past Thursday, it's the Eagles and the Texans. Like we knew that wasn't going to be a good game. It is what it is. But then like weeks before that, like you got all these Thursday night games that the matchups just they're not really enticing. I feel like this week for Sunday, we got some good games coming up. Even though the records don't always talk it, I feel like you still have certain things to look forward to this week. So I want to start off. Go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's a lot of teams that are off this week, but at the same time, I think it's going to be good quality. I think the matchup will be really close. Like, I mean, the Rams and Buccaneers, I think was a game that I think a lot of people circled at the beginning of the year just because this could be a preview for the NFC Championship. Obviously, as things stand right now, that's probably not going to be the case. But I do think it's still going to be a really intriguing game because they both need this game. They both really need it in a major way.
I think Tampa really needs it, man. Tampa Bay, you're right. I mean, both teams need it. But just to see what's happening with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, like you never think a Tom Brady-led team would look like this at this point of the season. Like I remember some of those Patriots teams where it's like they might start off a little slow and the offense don't look right, but still come around like week 9, week 10, it's like, oh, okay, it's Brady. It don't look like that this year, man. What the heck is happening down there in Tampa Bay?
I just think it's a lot of things. I mean, the offensive line isn't very good. I think that starts there. I mean, obviously, Tom Brady needs a ton of protection. He's not mobile, and especially at his advancing age, he's definitely, you got to be able to protect him and keep him upright. So that's the first thing. They lost, multiple offensive linemen at the beginning of the season. That was a problem. Secondly, the receivers have been injured at certain times this year. Mike Evans got suspended. Chris Godwin, Julio Jones has missed time. Gronk's no longer there. I think that was a big security blanket. Nobody's really talking about, the loss of Gronk there because, even though he might not be he wasn't the same tight end, but he still provided that third down assurance there for Brady from time to time. And then you just look at Tom Brady himself. I mean, he's 45 years old. At some point, I mean, you have to understand that, Father Time is going to start to take over a little bit. I mean, he's not the same. He's still a good quarterback. It's nothing, not taking anything away from him, but, he start for a number of different teams, but he's just not the Tom Brady that I think a lot of people have accustomed to seeing too. So I think it's a combination of all three things.
Yeah, as a Lakers fan, man, I know. Follow me for a second. As a Lakers fan, I feel like we got this version of LeBron that Tampa Bay Buccaneers got of Tom Brady. Like, they both got a championship. Like, they came to the city and it was like, okay, yes, we got it. Bron came, gave us one in the bubble. Brady went there. He gave him one first year he got there. But then it's like, this ain't Tom Brady that was dominating the AFC East for 20 years. This ain't Bron that was down in Miami looking like a villain. Like, this is I mean, still high quality players, but it's just not the same dominating player, man. And it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's you disagree. It looks like you might disagree.
I think it's two different situations. I think with the Lakers, I just don't think the team is very good around LeBron. I mean, I think he's still a top 5, 10 player in the league. I don't think Tom Brady's a top 10 player in the league anymore. Like, I think LeBron is still that. Like, I think still he can still give you that, that scoring, and he may not give it to you on the defensive end like how he used to, but he can still provide buckets. But when you got AD that's, been fragile, and then we got Russell Westbrook who's, out of sorts there. He doesn't, it's like he doesn't belong there. And then you add in a Patrick Beverley, to a midst there. It's kind of like, you see the guy like on Twitter where you put the French fries into that pan and then fire just starts. That's just kind of what it seems like when they put Patrick Beverley in the midst of there. Like, everything just became even more combustible than what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that perspective, but I mean, I'm a Laker fan, so when I look at it, it's like the part you said about no defense is like that was the part that made Bron even more yeah, he gonna give you buckets, he'll dunk on you, but like the dude that was running down the court blocking, like on a fast break, he's gonna come and snatch the ball out your hand before you can lay it up. Like, that was the Bron that he scared you on defense and on offense. Right now, I feel like you put the ball in his hand and everybody's scared of Bron, but these guys are attacking Bron different this year, man. Like, I don't think they're scared of him. So, like, the reason why I made again, I agree with you. I think they're both.
Yeah.
You still look at Tom Brady like, dude, that's Tom Brady. But because honestly, there were plays last week's game, like the wide open touchdown drop. It wasn't Brady. He put the ball where it needed to be. There were some throws that he made in that game that was like, man, this dude he still got it. But again, the chemistry overall, you see Mike Evans dropping wide open touchdown passes. That's not something that we're used to, man. And I don't know. I feel
think
like
part of that too is also missing time during training camp too, because remember the time when he was doing, like, he had to take some time away from the team and all of that, deal with his personal matters. I think that's part of it too as well. Like, you miss that time with the chemistry, and at his age, you need that. You really need that in your rapport, and I think you're really seeing that on the field.
Man, I tell you, like, I agree with you. It's just shocking to see because, again, knowing who Tom Brady has been, especially as a Bills fan, like the AFC East, we've seen Tom Brady be like this machine, and now it's like, why he couldn't be this Tom Brady when he was in New England? But
I mean, he would have been eventually. I mean, I think either way the Bills would have taken over at some point. It's just going to matter like how that happened, whether he was in New England or in Tampa Bay. But yeah, I think eventually the Bills would have been the better. I think we started to see that his last year there in New England.
Yeah, I just wish we could have beat him while he was at his peak. You know what I mean? Like, because it's one thing to beat him when he's old. He's still not, like we just said, he's still good. But it's one thing to beat him when he's like, not the dude. He's not the MVP no more. I want to beat him when he's that guy. But it's all good. But they're going up against the Rams, and they're not the Rams that we expected to see either. I mean, week one, obviously, Bills fans, I was one of them, just super excited that we went to their house and thrashed on them. They not look like Matt Stafford ain't looking like Matt, and I think Cup, I'm sure he's going to play, but he tweaked his ankle in garbage time last week and just all types of stuff, man. Like they don't look like the same team. Their defense is not by at all shut down like you expect to see. So what's happening out on the West Coast?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Donald's still playing at a high level. I mean, he's still like going to have double-digit sacks and, 11, 12, whatever the case may be. I think Jalen Ramsey, hasn't necessarily played up to standards at times. And, I think they just missing a lot of components there. And I think Matt Stafford, he's turning the ball over a lot. And I think we kind of saw that, with the Bills game, like he was doing too much. I think you kind of saw that in Detroit there when he was there. I think last year with the Rams, he kind of reined it down a little bit. And, I think Sean McVay was able to get the very best out of him that way. I think the expectation was a lot of people thought Matt Stafford was a top 10 quarterback, and he definitely played like that last year. Certainly it's not the case this year. Running the football has been a problem. I know they're going to try to get Cam Akers back, but, we'll see how he's back in the fold there. I'm actually surprised he's still on the roster there, and they decided not to trade him considering, the things that's been going on there. But, I guess they really need him, and that's probably why they decided not against trading him. But, yeah, they just don't look the same, and I think that's why you see San Francisco go out and get a Christian McCaffrey, because they feel like they can win this division, and I think they can. I really do, and they own the Rams, really. Like, they beat them, like, I don't know, like 8 straight times, like, on the regular season. So, yeah, I mean, until, remains to be seen. I know the Rams beat them in the playoffs where it counted last year, but, I really like the 49ers in that division, and I may – I don't know if I'm on a limb was saying this, but I think the 49ers, to me, that's who I would have coming out the NFC at the moment.
I want to say that. But you know what? Every year I feel like the only reason why I doubt them comes down to Jimmy Garoppolo. But they make the NFC Championship or they make the Super Bowl. And, it's like they always end up pulling it out in the playoffs, where it's like, yeah, my only question was the quarterback, and he ended up being the guy to get him there. And so I don't know.
But here's my thing too. Like, who are you gonna pick? You're gonna pick the Eagles. So like, it's still questions with Jalen Hurts too. Like, it's the Vikings. We know about Kirk Cousins and his deficiencies, like especially when it counts too. So somebody seems like they have something against them that they need to get past. Somebody's gonna have to get over that hump at least. And I think the 49ers have shown they can at least get to the Super. I don't have them winning it, but at least think they can get to the Super Bowl.
Well, we know they're not going to win it because we know who's.
You never look.
We know who's going to win it this year. Okay, come on, man. Like every week, man. I feel like you.
I picked the Bills. I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl. Like, seriously, I put a bet out in Vegas about it. But again, in a 1-game scenario, anything can happen.
I'm just saying, man. Like every week, you take a little bit of my hope. Like a little bit of the faith I have.
Well, you can't just go in there just thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna win every single game. Like, no, like that's not.
No, I don't think we're gonna win every. I think before the season I said that I looked at our schedule initially and thought that we were gonna end up 14-3.
Okay,
but I will tell you, it's still possible, very much so. But I will tell you, I thought we were gonna probably drop. Like either the Kansas City game or, like I didn't think we were going to go into the bye 5-1. And that's just the honest to God truth. It's like when you looked at the way the schedule came, and really even Green Bay is not Green Bay, like that we're all used to seeing. So like it could have been that game or it could have been Kansas City. But man, to go into the bye 5-1 and then now I think the Vikings schedule, like record wise, is the toughest team on that's left considered on our schedule. We'll get into the Bills and adjust later, but I'm just saying, like, I don't expect us to win every game, but I gotta ride with my boys when we start talking that Super Bowl talk. Like, this is the first year. Last year I thought we could have won it. Obviously, what happened with the Chiefs, but last year I thought we had a team that was good enough to do it. But this year I just feel like, honest to God, when we wake up and we show up, I don't think there's anybody top to bottom. And that's not even me being biased this year. Like I said that a couple years ago about the Chiefs. Like sometimes I look at teams and some teams just look like they're ahead of people. And like, a couple years back when the Chiefs, you remember when Mahomes had his MVP year and didn't they, it just seemed like, you couldn't stop them on offense. They figured it out on defense too. And it just seemed like literally everything they were doing was working. And I just feel like for the Bills this year, even though like we had a slower game last week against the Packers, I don't know. I just feel like top to bottom, there isn't a roster and I know everybody's talking about the Eagles and I know everybody, I don't see it. I still don't see it with the Eagles.
When they play their game, like I think the Bills are the best team, but I think obviously that it's going to be peaks and valleys throughout the course of the season. But yeah, I think when they're on, and then despite the injuries that they've had, this week there, especially at the safety position that's really above the Bills. I think they are top of the food chain as far as the rest of the teams in the league.
Yeah, so all jokes aside, I'd be joking with you, but at the same time, it's like I gotta ride with the boys. But another game that I think is gonna be interesting this week is I think the Chiefs and the Titans game. I know the Titans don't look what we expected them to look. Last year they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Chiefs, I still think the Chiefs are the Chiefs, man. And I know they don't have Tyreek Hill, so they're doing it differently on offense, but man, after that Bills game, they went out there and did what they did to the 49ers, and it looked real bad on the 49ers. And I just, I think the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes is still that. What's your thoughts on that Sunday night football game?
Basically, you're just trying to stop Derrick Henry. He gets in these stretches like the game against Houston where you start to see him go and just become elite once again. He started out slow, and then all of a sudden, like, he's putting up 200-yard games against the Texans pretty much all the time now. But now that's basically what it comes down to. If you can contain Derrick Henry, force Ryan Tannehill to beat you. You got a shot. You got a shot to end up winning. So yeah, I definitely think KC. For me, I think KC is at least the second best team in football right now, and to be able to do it without Tyreek Hill and to do it with the supporting cast that they've had of wide receivers. You still have Travis Kelce. They have a complement of running backs that they use too as well, and of course, you have arguably the best quarterback. I know, arguably the best quarterback in football in Patrick Mahomes there. But they're always going to be in it. And, it would not surprise me if the Chiefs end up winning by double digits.
Yeah, no, that's not that's not a debate I'm going to have with you.
That's what I said, arguably.
Yeah, no, I respect Patrick Mahomes like way more than a lot of Bills fans want to give him respect for. But I'm going to tell you what, man, that dude, he still does things with the football with that, like you mentioned, with that supporting cast. Because Juju hasn't, like, last couple games he kind of showed up, but when you look at the overall for the season, he's not what we thought he would be. You look at Sky Moore is not even like, has he even really made? I don't feel like his presence was felt at all this year. Maybe a player or two here or there, but for the most part, like, we haven't mentioned Sky Moore's name. The rookie Pacheco, the running back.
Yeah.
He hasn't kind of, so offensively, I'm just saying, like, I don't think he has the pieces outside of Kelce, like, most Chiefs fans probably thought, but he's making that work. So I can't hate on him. And as far as the Titans, man, last week with Malik Willis was ugly, man. Like, now Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. So you have 200 plus rushing yards and 15 touchdowns on the ground, you're going to win. But man, Malik Willis, I don't know. Are you disappointed in that as a football fan? Because I tell you what, man, I honestly, at one point, I honestly thought, I'm like, I met him at the draft and I told him, like, yo, make Pittsburgh regret that. And it just don't look, and I know it's his first start. He's a rookie. So, I mean, I know it's a lot to the story to be written, but that to start off, man, that the preface to that book didn't look like he was going to make them regret not drafting him.
You just have to understand, like, rookies are playing like how rookies are. I think we've gotten accustomed to seeing guys that come into the league. Some guys come into the league and set it on fire. Like, not everybody's going to be like Patrick Mahomes and then just literally, like, second year in the league, like, guns blazing, like, win MVP and all of that. And I think it's going to take time, especially when you have a project like Malik Willis. And look at where he went to school at Liberty. That's a big jump up in talent. Like, this ain't the ACC in Clemson or SEC or whatever. This is like going from a mid-level conference in college football to NFL, and that speed, I can't even imagine, in his mind, the speed of that, so he had to be struggling there, and you saw it there on the field, and, I think he'll be fine. I really do like Malik Willis there, but it's just it may take some time for him to develop too. You may end up keeping Tannehill for another year just to let him develop there, because I think he's more of a project that's going to take some time before he's ready to start in the league, and I think you kind of saw that last week.
I like him, like I said, I was really hoping that he would come out and have a big game. I know a lot of people who play fantasy picked him up on the waivers really quickly and was like, oh, he might save my season. I didn't think that was going to happen, but I just didn't think, I don't even remember his stats, but I think he had like 22 yards passing or something like that. So, I was just really, I don't know. I was rooting for him and I was hoping it would be a bigger showing for him, but that game, so like I said, the Titans and the Chiefs, how do you think that one's going to go?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs win by double digits. Like I think they get the job done and continue to keep rolling till they know, they lost the game against Buffalo. They got to keep winning in order to try to at least have what happened last year, where they ended up still getting home field advantage despite the fact that they lost to the Bills in the regular season. And the only way to do that is to keep winning. So I think they're going to continue to do that and keep rolling.
Yeah, I mean, and I do see it coming down to the end of the season where 1 and 2 are the Bills are cheap, like whichever way, and hopefully the Bills won't lose. I mean, I don't think it's likely that we go undefeated the rest of the season. Like as much as a fan of me wants to say the Bills will go undefeated, I don't think it's likely to expect a team to win 16 games out of 17. Like it's just a tough grind. It's a tough year, but man, God, I hope that it goes through Buffalo. Like to have the playoffs go through Western New York it's a different experience that most of the people my age, we really didn't get to experience that in the early 90s. Like even if you did go to the game with your parents, we were kids, man. Like I hate when people my age try to talk like, oh man, I remember those games. Bruh, you was like 6. I was born in 86.
Well, they
saying?
remember. They don't necessarily know what they were watching, but they remember.
No, but I remember what I'm saying. When I say remember in that sense, I mean like they try to make it seem like they were so invested and they was like now, like the way I talk about the game and I can break down the nuances of the game and I can talk about, these boys be out here fronting on the internet and it's like, come on, man, you was in 2nd grade, you was in 1st grade, and you was just hoping in Buffalo to get the day off of school because every year Buffalo Public Schools said if we win the Super Bowl, ain't no school Monday. And guess what? We had school every Monday for 4 years, and it was annoying, bro. It was annoying. so I'm hoping it goes to Buffalo, man. But let me see another one that I'm actually interested in. Now, everybody knows, I live in Phoenix now, so I'm a Cardinals fan in a way. The Cardinals are going up against the Seahawks, so it's a divisional game. But it's not even just the fact that it's a divisional game. The reason why I'm looking forward to this one, I think, since DeAndre Hopkins came back, I think Kyler Murray is kind of waking up a bit at quarterback. I think when DeAndre Hopkins is in there, that offense looks different. But then on top of it, the Seahawks, I don't know if they just were future, if they could just tell the future, or if it was like, what, the system that Pete Carroll has is going to make a quarterback look kind of decent, however it is. They get rid of Russell Wilson. He goes out there to Denver and he's crap in the bed. Now you got Geno Smith looking like everything that Rex Ryan wanted him to look like. How do you think this game is going to go? Because actually, like I said, I'm rooting for the Cardinals to kind of turn their season around because, man, it's bad out here. People out here want Kyler's head. They want Cliff's head, and they ready for them, or especially Cliff. They ready for Cliff to go.
Well, they just signed him to an extension, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. So at least for another year, it's not. So yeah, they're kind of stuck with him there. I think with the Seahawks, I think you didn't mention, I think, the X factor with them the last few weeks, and that's Kenneth Walker. Like I think Kenneth Walker has just been absolutely everything that I thought he would be coming out of Michigan State. Somebody that can catch the ball out of the backfield, has some speed burners, and also strong too. I mean, he is hard to take down, and definitely what Pete Carroll likes. I mean, you think about Pete Carroll and what they were doing, with the Legion of Boom, and when Russ came there, and obviously they had Marshawn Lynch. They ran the ball effectively. They played good defense, and Russell Wilson ended up getting better and becoming a future Hall of Fame quarterback. But I think when he was learning the game early on, they were just telling him, don't screw it up. And then that's kind of what it is. But, Geno Smith become this super accurate quarterback in the process. And it's been amazing to watch there. So, yeah, there's all of a sudden like this sneaky contender out there in the NFC. And I definitely think I want to pick the Cardinals just simply because, I think that, like you said, DeAndre Hopkins has really made a big difference there. What worries me is their defense. And I think you kind of saw that too last week against the Minnesota Vikings too. Like, I know they can score, but can they stop anybody, especially when it counts too? That's what it's going to come down to be. Can they stop Geno Smith, force some turnovers, and also, be able to contain Kenneth Walker?
Don't seem like it, but I tell you what about Kenneth Walker. Since Hall in New York went down, honestly, I feel like I like Walker as the offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah,
like he's
absolutely.
Man,
him and Pierce, him and Damian Pierce are both like there. Like it's crazy. Like all of those guys none of those guys went in the first round. But I'm willing to bet you if you had to do it all over again, all three of them would go in the first round. For the best.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so I guess I agree with you on everything you said there. I think that that Walker is going to be, if the Seahawks have a successful season, as much as Geno Smith has become an accurate quarterback and he's looking like he's, as whatever. It's that run game, man. It's that run game and that defense that's keeping them like the games a little bit closer. And I love it. I love it. So let's see. Let's pivot to your original fandom team, like Real Talk, your team, the Raiders and the Jaguars, man. Record-wise, this game isn't one that people would probably rush to turn on the TV. But when you know the rosters and you know kind of the storylines about what's going on with each team, I think the Jaguars are actually looking forward now to like really making ETN like that workhorse. You know what I mean? Like after trading away Robinson, now they don't really have to split those reps the way they were before. And last week, ETN showed him like you made the right decision. And he had a big game. And then again, the Raiders, man, I don't know what happened last week. I have no idea what happened last week, dropping a goose egg, but they need to figure this crap out ASAP. Like, I mean, their season's over in a way.
I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can. I mean, I think that's the thing. The offense just seems out of sync. I mean, Josh Jacobs is probably the best thing that they have going offensively. You got injuries. Darren Waller's been hurt. Hunter Renfrow hasn't really looked the same. The offensive line isn't very good. And then Derek Carr just looks like a shell on himself. I mean, I have a hard time believing he's going to be on the roster next year, especially when they can get from under his contract and owe him nothing after next year. So I'd imagine if they keep Josh McDaniels and if you believe Mark Davis, they're going to, although if they finish like 2-15, I mean, I think all bets are kind of off there, especially when you talk about in Vegas where they're trying to sell tickets. But yeah, if they end up keeping Josh McDaniels, then I think, he's probably going to want his own quarterback there, at least to start out this year. This is really reminding me of the Denver situation. It really is. Like you had a situation there. It just looked like a team that was like the Mike Shanahan that was on the cusp of being a playoff team. But yeah, they brought in Josh McDaniels, and the value just tanks. Like they're just not the same team, and don't even look close to it. So that's kind of what reminded me of. The Raiders had a great story last year, won 10 games, and now they look like a team that's probably going to be picking second or third in the draft.
It's just insane to me because, like you mentioned, yes, Josh Jacobs is about the best thing you have there, but you talk about Carr. He had no excuse this year. Like now, okay, I don't know how much blame you want to put on the head coach. I don't think he was a good coach. He wasn't a good coach the first time around. He's not a good head coach this time around. But I'm that guy where I feel like sometimes it's like, look, it comes down to just straight up talent. And when you got freaking Devontae Adams, you got Josh Jacobs, now Darren Waller's been injured, but it's like, what? Like Aaron Rodgers only threw to Devontae Adams, and he was MVP 2 years in a row. So I don't understand how we can look at. I don't know. It's really shocking to me. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going to happen with them. I think obviously their season is over. It's tough when you're in a division with the Chiefs and the Chargers to think that you're going to come back. So I don't think it's happening. But man, how do you think that game is going to go?
I think I might go with Jacksonville here. I mean, just the rate, man. They just don't really look. It seems like Jacksonville is just a team that's had their struggles, especially with a young team. The Raiders just look really disinterested. I mean, to get shut out like there against the Saints team that has a ton of injuries, and they were missing their top 2 wide receivers, and you pretty much just get boat raced on the road like that. I don't know. I just got to go with Jacksonville until the Raiders win another game and prove me wrong, man. I definitely going to be picking against them every single week. Like I just have not liked what I've seen on the field there as far as the product this year.
The way you talking about the Raiders is how I've been talking about the Bengals. Like, and I know the Bengals have a better season so far, but it's like I just pick against them every week until they really. It's like, look, until y'all prove me wrong. I'm just gonna pick.
Well, the Bengals could still win a division. Like the Raiders, like nobody. Like I thought the Raiders would finish in last place, but not like this.
I don't think they're going to win the division, man. Like I don't think they're making the playoffs. But you heard me say that a few times, and I'm talking about the Bengals now.
Yes.
I think the Ravens is their division to lose. I don't think they're losing it. Lamar, he hasn't played the way I thought he would play to try to get that bag, but at the same time, they're not pulling away.
they're not pulling away. So I mean, and then now the Bengals are without Jamar Chase, which I think really hurts too. I
For a
think,
few games,
yeah. You end up, if he's healthy, then I think it's more of a race there. But without him, yeah, I definitely have to go with the Ravens. But the Ravens really not doing a whole lot to pull away. Hopefully, they start to do that so get some separation.
Well, Monday Night Football, they got the Saints, who Michael Thomas is out on injuries. I mean, he's been injured all season anyway. Jameis Winston hasn't played, besides the first couple of weeks, and now he's healthy, and now they're still going like he's benched, so it doesn't matter. We'll talk about this Monday Night Football game. Then I want to touch on the Patriots, Colts, and then let's get into the Jets and Bills, and then we get on out of here. But the Ravens and Saints, I'm gonna tell you what, when Jameis coming into the season, I thought with Jameis being healthy, I thought if Michael Thomas was healthy and Kamara didn't get suspended for that altercation in Vegas and all this stuff, I'm like, they're going to be my pick. Actually, they really were my pick out of the NFC as a healthy roster, because I thought last year before Jameis went down, he improved a lot. Like, I felt like he was the quarterback. He wasn't the guy throwing 30 for 30. He was actually, I think when he got injured, he had 14 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and he looked completely different. If Thomas was healthy, along with those other weapons that they have there, they signed Landry, who also isn't healthy.
Chris Olave.
So I just figured that team had the offensive power with Jameis throwing the ball out there, and with that defense playing the way I felt like they were going to play. They were my pick for the NFC. Injuries, man. But how do you feel about this game?
Coaching matters too. I mean,
it does. It does.
We talked about Josh McDaniels, they're not working out for him, but Dennis Allen with the Raiders, he had a bad team. And look, the Raiders are a bit of a mess at times, so it's kind of hard to pin everything on him. But he did not. It was not great when he was there either. And then now you give him the keys to, I don't want to say a Ferrari, but a really high class car, a Corvette. I'll say a Corvette. You give them the keys to a Corvette, and then they're making it seem like a Prius at the moment, like pretty much like what it is. I mean, it's just not good. Like I didn't think they'd win the NFC, but I thought they'd win the division. I thought they were that talented, and I thought there was a lot of questions coming in with Tampa, but I mean, they did win last week against the Raiders. That's not really saying a whole lot. Now you go up against and try to stop Lamar Jackson there on Monday night. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it high power, but I know Andy Dalton has, played decently. I mean, we know what Andy Dalton's going to give you. I mean, he's not a bad quarterback. I don't know if he's necessarily the guy you want to start at this juncture of his career, but you definitely could do a lot worse there if you're the Saints. But yeah, I like the Ravens there. I know they're a favorite there, and I'm probably gonna have them win by a touchdown or so on the road.
I'm with you. I hate the way the Saints season is kind of unfolded, not just for my pick's sake, but I mean, like, honestly, I hate hearing about guys being injured. Michael Thomas, man, when he's healthy, he's one of the best receivers.
But he hadn't been healthy, man.
That's what I mean. And it's just like
3 years.
You just, at this point, it's like, man, why this guy is just collecting a check, and I feel bad. I do feel bad about the injuries. I never want to hear about anybody being injured, but it's like this dude, he's halfway through his contract, and it is a nice contract. It ain't like he's getting paid pennies out there. And it's like, come on, man, you got to put something on the field. But the Ravens, back to the Ravens too, man. Yeah. I know you said they're not quite pulling away. I think this game they're going to win. Is going to help. But also, like I said, they're going to figure it out. They have some injuries happening too, some things happening that doesn't quite help with what they're trying to do. But, I don't think that the signing of Jackson is going to help much. I know I don't get why they won't give Lamar Jackson receivers out there. I really don't get it.
Well, I think they're trying to. It's not that. I just don't think if you're a receiver, would you want to play in that offense?
If I'm a receiver, I would want to play with Lamar Jackson.
But would you want to play when knowing that you're not going to get a lot of touches, especially nowadays when players want money and that contract and things of that nature too? Like if you're not putting up numbers, then you're not going to get paid. It kind of goes back to what Elijah Ward told us after the game. Like he's trying to build this legacy. Although I don't necessarily agree with him, but I kind of see his point where you're trying to build your legacy and trying to build these numbers and stat lines. But if you're only getting like 50 catches for 800 yards a season, and then your main target is one of the best tight ends in football and getting like 80, 90 catches, then when it comes contract time, are you going to get rewarded for that? Probably not. Probably not. So it's hurt. Like it's a fine line. You definitely, you want to play with Lamar Jackson, but you also want to get paid too in this process.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. But like I said, I just feel like they could have tried something. Trade deadline. Something.
Who they getting though? Who are you going after?
I mean, somebody just got Chase Claypool for a 2nd-round pick. You know what I'm saying? Like,
is that the answer though? The Bears, like the Bears.
It's more of but I mean, it's more of an answer than. Come on, man.
Actually, I do like Chase Claypool too. I just think, I think he'll be fine in that Bears offense too. I think he'll, I really do. I'm a big fan of his. So,
yeah, no, I like him too. But I also, I think, I don't think that obviously, I don't think Mike Tomlin's a bad coach, but I don't think that offense. The best year that we've seen from him was Ben Roethlisberger, and I don't think Ben. At that time, he was, I guess, the healthiest version of himself in his older age, but he still was, I don't think that they gave him a quarterback yet. And I think now the Bears are trying to figure out how to run an offense with Fields, like with what his skill set is. And I think it can pay off. And I hope it does, because you got Mooney out there and he looks good. So, I really hope that they can kind of figure out some type of offense for this kid, because I love Justin Fields. I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's as great as everybody is knighting him to be already.
Who's knighting him to be?
A ton of people, man. I had somebody the other day try to tell me, who are they trying to argue?
I think people are like labeled. A lot of people are labeling that whole class of buzz right now, 2021.
Well, I've been hearing a bunch of stuff,
but it's still early.
I won't put nobody on. It is, but I'm not gonna put nobody on blast. But somebody was trying to tell me that he's a lot better than a lot of quarterbacks in this league, and I'm just like, I don't know what quarterbacks you watch, but he's not that.
He's starting to show signs, but I don't. That's the best thing I can say about it right now, as opposed to Zach Wilson, who we'll get into, I'm sure, in a little bit.
All right, well, let's get into the last game before we talk about our matchup. So the Patriots and the Colts. So the Colts, man.
I'm surprised you even want to talk about this game, because I'll be pretty quick with mine. But go ahead.
Well, I guess the only reason why I want to talk about it is because I just want to ask, like, do you think that they're tanking now at this point?
I think they are trying to see what they have in Sam Ellinger, and if he's not the guy, then they're trying to go out and draft somebody. That's basically what it is. Because at some point, like, you get tired of the free agent shuffle that they did. They went out to Philip Rivers. They did make the playoffs that year, and lost to the Bills in the first round, the wild card round.
Hold that L.
Yeah. Carson Wentz, that went well until the end of the year, and then they traded him. He actually was a better quarterback than what Matt Ryan was earlier this year, and then he couldn't hold on to the ball, and then now he's benched, and now you're going with a guy that you took later on in the draft. So I think that's the only solution for him, to be quite honest with you, because clearly what you tried, it hasn't been working. So you're not going to go to the free. What are you going to try to get? Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo? I mean, it's going to be the same thing all over again. So just go out and groom a young quarterback, and hopefully he can be the guy.
Yeah. I am going to go Patriots this game. I think Ramondre Stevenson has kind of solidified himself as that RB1 out there, even with, like the way everybody's come back after injuries and all this stuff. I still think Stevenson is the guy out there. And I think, the Patriots would be smart to just ride him into the, as far as they can. I don't think it's weird that there's even a quarterback controversy at this point, but it really is a controversy with those two guys.
Not really. I mean,
there is, man.
He didn't play well last week, but I mean, they still won. So, I mean, I think when healthy, Matt Jones is going to be the guy.
He should be. But the way everywhere that I'm looking and everybody I talk to, so like obviously SB Nation has Pat's Pulpit, and I work with them as well, and I talk to them a lot. And those guys seem to think that the way it's being reported, the way that the team is kind of giving these subtle little messages and everything, it sounds like, Mac Jones is on a very short leash, and if things go too wrong too quick, it's very possible that it's Zappe hour again. And I don't get that, because I don't think Zappe is. I don't look at him as like a real. Now I know most people felt like he was probably the most NFL ready quarterback, I guess, because of all the touchdowns he put up and stuff like that. Dude, I'm gonna start sending you this stuff, because you're looking at me like I'm not saying that. I'm telling you what I've heard, and I'm like, y'all crazy. Like, where y'all get this stuff? This stuff was being reported during the draft when they pulled him. Not during the draft. I'm saying like now that the season was going on, and then he kind of game managed his way into, into a couple of decent games, people were talking like, well, he broke every record in college and he's this and he's that. And I'm like, yo, y'all crazy. Like, do y'all understand who he was playing against and the type of game? Not taking nothing from him. I'm not saying that he was, his college career means nothing. But, it's a lot of delusional people doing the job that we're doing. And I don't understand how they get these jobs.
Mid-major, and they played, no disrespect, but it's not like they were playing Georgia or Alabama and he had, a big showcase game.
That's my point.
What
at the very least,
about?
That's why I'll never really talk crap about Tua, because he did it at Alabama on the biggest stage. He came in off the bench. Like he did. I saw Tua do things in college, and it's like, okay, now down in the NFL this year, he took a step forward. Tua took a step forward, and I'm seeing some things.
I was gonna say now, granted, they have been guys that have transitioned over and been good in colleges like that, but you can see it. You can. No, I just didn't. I just thought he was a guy.
Yeah, he was an average guy that got his chance to be drafted by the Patriots and sit behind Mac Jones.
I think he'd be a backup quarterback and be in the league for 10 years. That's about what I think about him.
Yep, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think sometimes people will hear that and listen to that and look at it as a negative, or like we trying to play somebody. But it's like, no, I would give a lot to be a backup quarterback in the NFL and sit there and I would love that job. Are you kidding me?
Chess.
Man, and not everybody is going to be Joe Montana, Tom Brady. Everybody can't be those guys. So it's okay. It's okay to be a backup. But anyway, so I think we're both going with the Patriots that game, though, I feel. And, Jonathan Taylor, I believe he's not playing, right? I think that's the report that I read that he's not playing.
I think it's I don't know if it's for sure, but I know he's hurt. So, which is crazy because they just traded Hines to Buffalo. So now you're in a bit of a pickle.
Well, they got Zach Moss.
yeah, I guess so. I guess he'll be starting.
Which is wild. Like, he's gonna go from barely being active. He was active this last game, and then the Chiefs game he wasn't active at all. And now he might walk into Indiana and start. That's crazy to me. But okay, now let's get to the game, and then we'll get on out of here, man. The team that you cover, I'm not gonna call in your boys this week. I'm gonna be a little bit more nice and correct about it. The team that you cover is going up against the team that I root for and I cover. The Buffalo Bills is heading out to East Rutherford, and they're going to face your New Jersey Giant or New Jersey Jets. But how do you I guess first let me ask you this: what do you think? What do you think from the perspective of the Jets has to happen for those guys to walk out of Sunday's game with the win?
Defense there. I mean, you got to force turnovers there. The defense is one of the best in the NFL. No matter how badly Zach Wilson has played this year, the defense has been elite, to be honest with you. It's not as good as the Bills, but it's good. It's really good. It's one of the best in the league. And, you have one of the better defensive tackles in football, Quentin Williams there. Carl Lawson's playing well. And you have two flight corners and Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed there playing at a high level. Yeah, you need those guys to be able to contain Josh Allen. I'm not saying stop, because I don't think nobody's going to be able to stop Josh Allen totally, but to eliminate the explosive plays, that's what you want to do. Eliminate him hurdling over people, making these Superman type moves, and also trying to force turnovers, because I think you'll admit to this. I think Josh Allen will give you a bone or two at times as far as interceptions. It'll be times where you can get some turnovers and get a turnover against them. You got to be able to capitalize on that. So I think that's where it's going to start there. Try to get some points there and be able to run the football. That's basically what it is. If they can do those two things, they can definitely keep this game close.
I'll be honest. I was shocked this past Sunday because, so to your point, this season, I felt like Josh was protecting the ball a lot better than he has in his career. And I know I think now he has 6, I think, total for the year, but early on for the season, one of them literally he got the interception. So I'm going to say they're his fault. But what I mean is the one interception literally was in Isaiah McKenzie's hands, bounced up, got intercepted. Another one went through Knox's hands. So when that happens, it's it's the quarterback's fault. Either he threw too hard, whatever happened. But I still felt like decision wise, typically those 2 passes should have been caught. His decision making has been better. This game against the Packers, man, he made 2 bad decisions in the second half that really, if that team was better, could have cost him. Like, it really could have hurt him if, now granted, it's Aaron Rodgers, so people are afraid of Aaron Rodgers anyway. But, you do that against Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead or like anywhere, really. You do that against Patrick Mahomes, or you do that against, I don't
really
know
good
if I want to.
Or really good defense. Yeah. They're getting ball
So it's
to the
like
house.
you get that right, and Sauce Gardner is he ain't no slouch when it comes to playing defense and intercepting the ball, and so when you have a certain level of defense that you're going against, you're right, you can't give the ball up. So I think for the Bills, now all season, I've been talking my talk and I've been trying to have fun with it, but realistically, I think the Jets game can be one of those games that if you're not careful and you're going out there and you're just thinking like, okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and fling it out here everywhere and do what I feel like doing. It could turn around and be some, because that's what happened to the Packers. The Jets took full advantage of, special teams play. They took full advantage of bad decisions by Aaron Rodgers, and they made sure when they got the ball, they either was taking it to the house or they was trying to get as close to the house as possible. So, you can't do that against those type of defenses. So now I don't think that that's going to be the, I don't think that's going to be the deciding factor this week. I think Josh will protect the ball. I think he was disappointed in his performance last week, even though we won. So I expect Josh to come out and try his hardest to kind of, like have one of those Josh Allen games, especially with it being against the Jets. So, but how do you feel this is going to go? Like, what do you expect out of it?
I think it'll be a close game initially because I think the Jets defense is good enough to be able to keep it close. However, I think the second half you start to see the Bills pull away just because I just think they have too much talent there. I think Josh Allen is all world. I mean, I think they'll be able to contain Stephon Diggs enough where he doesn't burn them. But I think you're worried about some of the other players, like a Dawson Knox too as well. I could see him having a, really big game. The Jets have problems, covering tight ends at times too as well. So I think, you might see Josh Allen look at him a little bit too as well. So yeah, I think, maybe like 31, 17 potentially somewhere around there. But yeah, I think the Bills get the job done.
Okay, yeah. So not yesterday. I've been on so many shows this doggone week. One day this week, I did my predictions and I said that I thought it was going to be around 35-13. So I mean, like it's you said 17. That's so I guess it's a touchdown as opposed to a field goal there. But I kind of agree. I think to start off, I think the Jets being at home is going to have some energy. They're going to come out and try to really keep it close and do some things. But I think the second half is typically throughout the season is when we've seen for the Bills, they come out, the third quarter has been their quarter. They put teams away. And I don't think that's going to change this week. But man, I hope, honest to God, let me ask you this before we even go there. I was impressed at the fact that the Jets decided, you know what, we feel like we're winning games. We feel like our defense is good enough to win us games. And we feel like our run game was strong enough to help the defense continue to move the ball, hold the time of possession and try to put some points on the board. Do you think James Robinson? Now I know it was just his first week, so I can't, I'm not going to really judge that performance. But do you think James Robinson was the right replacement for for Hall going down?
I think, preferably you want somebody like Kareem Hunt, but I don't know if they made that call. Or maybe they did, and then the Browns just decided not to make the move. But I like James Robinson. I think he's a different running back than Breece Hall. He doesn't have that, explosion. But yeah, it was his first game. I don't think they necessarily he got traded like Tuesday. So it's kind of hard to kind of come in and pick up the offense there on such a short week. I think now you'll start to see him be implemented more in the game plan, and they need him. They really need him to run they need him and Michael Carter to run the football effectively. To take pressure off of Zach Wilson. Because we saw it last week. Bill Belichick, decided they're not going to let the run game beat them. And they loaded up on the run and had Wilson beat them. And I imagine, the Bills are probably going to do the exact same thing too.
Yeah, well, and I mean, no Poyer is going to hurt. There's a couple injuries that really can hurt, but at the same time, I just think top to bottom, without being too cocky this week, like I'm just being honest about it. I think I think this, I still think the roster top to bottom, the Buffalo Bills just have a better roster. And then when you look at the quarterback, Josh Allen is just, I'll take Josh over Wilson 10 times out of 10. So I just think that, is going to be too much for the Jets, but I do expect them to kind of, to learn out from this game. I hope for their sake that they can kind of continue to put some good things together for the season and, man, get that 2 seed in the division for the year, man. Like, because I hate the Dolphins. No, I hate the Dolphins.
I think the Dolphins are probably going to get it, man. I think the Dolphins are going to win 11 games. I think
Tua being all cocky. He being all cocky. I think I learned something with the deep ball, eh? I think I learned something.
Well, if somebody keeps attacking you, like, and taking shots at you, like, you gotta. Nah, man. What are you supposed to do? Not take any shots at them?
No, I'm not saying that, but it's like, at least be honest about it. He hasn't like gotten better with the deep ball. He has 2 guys that are speedy that can take any pass that he throws them to the house. He hasn't been out there. He has not been out there just dropping dimes, 40-yard deep balls. That's not.
But it's not like he's like not throwing it deep though. I think people were saying, "Oh, he can't throw it deep." I mean, he can. I mean, but it does help to have 2 speed burners like that on the outside. But I would flex on them too. Like all the trash people talked about him, and things of that nature. Yeah, but I think it's gonna be the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins. And I think the Patriots will probably get the 3 seed, and I think the Jets may win 8 games, and then they still may finish in last place. Like that's how I think deep this division is now.
Okay, see, I still haven't quite put the Patriots back in a place of respect in a way. Like I feel like they're the base.
Their schedule, though, like that's the thing. Like look at their schedule, and I think they're starting to figure things out a little bit more. So I think they might win like 9 games, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. That's
fair. The Patriots, I'm at the point where I just disrespect them. Like I just, I ain't got nothing good to say about the Patriots. I don't like them. I don't want to like them. And the Jets, I feel like as much, even though it's division rivals, and even though we've had our the Jets and the Bills have had their rivals in the past, I feel like the Jets have gone through enough similarly to what the Bills have gone through to where I can respect them and say, hey, if you guys can hustle us out and win some games, man, more power to you. Just, I'm not going to root against you the week you're playing against the Bills.
It's just the lesser of 2 evils, I'm sure. Or 3 evils for you. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Because I hate the dog. And I know we talked before we went live here, and I know you spent some time out there, so you got a little bit of love for the Dolphins, but man, like, since these are the 2 teams now that's somewhat good in the division, I just can't stand. And the fans, man, they so obnoxious. They're horrible. Them dudes are horrible. What's that one? I ain't gonna say his name because I don't even want to give him too much attention. But the one content creator that like he's so loud and obnoxious, and the dude, it's just like, dude, come on, man. Like y'all not even that good, bro. And you sitting here talking like y'all winning Super Bowls. Like
I don't know. It could be any of like you have to tell me who that is off air.
I'll tell you when we get off, because I don't even want to say his name.
I probably
after. So when the Bills, because I went to the Miami game. So when the Bills, when we lost in Miami, we got a couple guys that are like, every team has like their super fans and whatnot. We had these guys called the Chefs. Everybody knows the Chefs. If you come to Buffalo for any reason and you go to a game, you know the Chefs. 2 of the most nicest dudes, 2 of the most humblest dudes that you'll meet. They just enjoy football. They enjoy people. They're walking out, and this dude's going live, and he's like,
that guy.
And that bum.
Man, I do know who it is.
Fam, like, you know what I mean? Like, and like I said, I was there. So, like, it was a lot of Miami fans that I was like, hey, enjoy this win, man. Y'all enjoy it. And some people were like, man, y'all played hard, though, man. I can't believe y'all even made it that close at the end there. So, like, some people, with every fan base, but that dude there, man, like I can't wait to play Miami again. So that way, like I literally have a post already in my drafts for him. Like
it's already. Are you ready?
Because I'm gonna just tell you, and I don't use excuses. We lost the game, but I was there, and I remember I was damn near dehydrated, sitting in the stands. I was sitting behind the Bills bench, bro. It was hot, man. Like
South Florida in September, man. Like that's how it is.
So, I mean, like they had a little, I won't go as far as some people in the fan base, but there was somewhat of a home field advantage when you're talking about the different sidelines. So, like I said, I'm not going, we lost, but man, you come to Buffalo, you come to Orchard Park and talk that. I want to see y'all win in Orchard Park the way that happened. Man, we going to tap that ass. And when we tap that ass, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear a damn thing because it's in the drafts, bro. It's already in the drafts.
I think we need to put this clip on Twitter and then just see how it does. That I can imagine this will go over well with some of the Dolphin fans.
Man, the Dolphins fans. You know what I was about to say there. I had to mute myself, but forget the Dolphins fans, man. Yeah. What week is that? Matter of fact, hold on. Before we get out, let me look at that.
I told you that. Yeah. Yeah.
What week is that, man? F them Dolphins fans. What was it? December 18th. I am yeah. The week before Christmas. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, homies. Let's go. Listen, Twan, I appreciate you this week, man. Shout out to my man Strohs for the girls. Like I said, he wasn't able to be with us this week. He'll be back in action with us next week. You got anything coming up? Any articles in the morning that you're going to be posting, or anything that you want us to look out for?
You can find my work at New York Daily News. I got an article on Zach Wilson up right now, so just check that out there, or follow me on Twitter at Antwan Staley.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, you already know it. It's your boy Jay Spence the King, Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. This vidcast and every vidcast is brought to you by Picasso Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day, Picasso Pizza. We are Buffalo. I think it's local and nationwide shipping at PicassoPizza.net. I feel like they should say delivery locally and then shipping nationwide, but that's a whole different thing. I'm not going to change the read. Shout out to Picasso Pizza. Listen, go Bills. Everybody enjoy their weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Let's get it, man. Thank you again, Twan.